Did you guys know that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in fact a turn-based card game? Well, today's deck list is going to be taking the definition of turn and maybe stretching it just a little bit. Why would you limit yourself by only playing during your turn when your opponent looks like they're having just a bit too much fun? I think it's about time that when playing Yu-Gi-Oh! We adopt a bit of a communist philosophy. It's no longer going to be my opponent's turn, it's going to be our turn. So here's today's deck list. Now, just a reminder before I go through the deck list, if you're enjoying today's video and want to see more content from me in the future, especially if you want to see some more new box content from me in the future, because tomorrow I plan to make an absolute banger Infinity video, so if that sounds like it's interesting to you, make sure to let me know, leave a like on today's video, and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss it. And without further ado, let's get into the deck list. So today's deck list is of course based around the archetype TG, which is an archetype that's notorious for just synchro summoning during your opponent's turn. Now this deck list is going to look very familiar to you past TG players, as every card in the main deck isn't new. It's all the same cards you would have seen before, but the only difference being there's a bunch of different ratios now. Because we're no longer just summoning our Quarion, we've got two brand new synchro monsters to go into. We've got Trishula, and we've got Trishula number 2. Trishula Dragon of the Iceberry is a level 9 synchro monster that takes 1 tuner plus 2 or more non-tuner monsters. So fairly similar to the Quarion, only it takes 1 tuner, not 2. This card, when it is synchro summoned, you can banish up to 1 card from your opponent's hand, field, and graveyard. So obviously a pretty powerful effect, as you can get rid of follow-up plays your opponent might be holding onto in hand, get rid of annoying problematic hand traps they might have, you can get rid of problematic cards they put in the graveyard, and of course you can get rid of annoying cards your opponent has on the field. Then we have the real boss monster for the deck. We have Trishula Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier. This card is a level 11 monster that takes 1 tuner plus 2 or more non-tuner monsters. When this card is synchro summoned, you can banish up to 3 cards your opponent controls. If this synchro summon card and its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon one Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier from your extra deck or graveyard, which is of course the monster we just spoke about. The Trishula will actually have 3300 attack, then it will halve the attack of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls, and also negate all their effects. So obviously, this card's quite a bit stronger than its predecessor, since this card, you get it out, and if your opponent does manage to get rid of it, they're going to be hit with a pretty nasty looking Trishula that actually has more attack than the card they just got rid of, and all their monster effects have just been negated, plus, if you summon this card, you just banish 3 cards your opponent controls. Now there is a major downside of running the Trishulas over just the standard Quarion summon we're used to do, and that is, Quarion is an if this card is synchro summoned, whereas both Trishulas are unfortunately when this card is synchro summoned, meaning both these cards can actually miss timing. If you don't know what that means, it basically means when you try to activate these cards as a chain link 2 or higher, your opponent will be pretty happy with you, as you'll get this nice little notification box on your screen saying, hey, you just fucked up, and you won't get the banishing effects. It's kind of hard to explain here, but during the gameplay I'll show you an example of basically, don't summon these cards as a chain link 2 or higher. Generally it just means you don't want to summon these cards in response to things. Generally you want to summon them in response to basically after your opponent has resolved their things. So if your opponent normal summons a monster, don't chain this to the monster's effect, wait for the effects to resolve, then summon your cards to banish their stuff. As for the rest of the deck list, normally I give you guys a few examples of just how to summon these big boss monsters, but I feel like that's very pointless when I'm about to show you guys in the gameplay how to summon them with examples and give you commentary whilst I'm doing it. So I'm going to skip over doing that. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the deck list portion of the video. Remember, if you're enjoying this video and want to see more content just like this, leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, so today I have 4 replays to show you guys. Unfortunately, all these replays were only gathered in gold, as I was a little bit lazy last month and didn't really play much Duel Links, so it meant, obviously, I've kind of deranked quite a bit. But I did go on a massive win streak with this deck list, as you'll see in the replays, so this deck list is easily coggable, just trust me. I know it's coggable, it's just I've been a bit lazy recently. Alright, let's get into the actual replays. So each of these replays is going to be showing off a different way and a different start for the deck. Alright. So I think this is going to be the first replay is an example of the missing timing I was talking about earlier. Which is a missing timing we couldn't avoid at this point, but yeah, you'll see. So this guy I think was playing Witchcrafter, which is really annoying to play against. And a deck I haven't seen in God knows how long. People are playing some weird shit in Gold apparently. And I think this guy completely misplayed. I think I should have lost this game 100%, as I had no idea what I was doing to how to play around it. Alright. So unfortunately, there's a way with this TG deck where you can get like a special summon out without having to do any normal summoning first, trying to bait out things like negation. But with this hand, you couldn't really do it, as it generally needs the level 2 dude that special summons himself and your level 3. So I couldn't really do that. Instead, we're just going to be returning the TG booster Raptor to the deck and adding the Drillfish. Activating the Screw Serpent, special summoning out the TG booster Raptor. Star Guardian's going to be adding back the TG Screw Serpent to hand. At this point, I was expecting my opponent to negate this or something, but he didn't. The reason I added the Drillfish is I'm hoping my opponent will use this negate now, or I thought he would, so then I'll just special summon the Drillfish, hit him in the face, and use its effect to pop a card on the field. Because this card, when a TG monster does battle damage, allows you to pop a card on the field. Bit of an interesting tuner monster, actually. Star Guardian can then special summon a card from hand, bring back the Screw Serpent, which can summon a card from graveyard on special, going into the Power Gladiator, and summoning out the Drillfish. My opponent for some reason still hasn't done a negate yet, so I don't really know what's going on here. But as you'll notice, I actually have the perfect materials with a level 5, another level 5, and a level 1 to go into the level 11 monster of the Trishula, which is what I try to set up here. Opponent discards a card to negate the effect. Now, when my opponent activates this trap card to add a card back to hand, normally, you wouldn't want to Synchro Summon in response, as this would mean your Trishula is going to miss timing because I'm responding to the effect rather than waiting for the thing to resolve. But in this case, I don't want my opponent to have this card back in hand because it means he would have another negate to potentially negate my Synchro Summon anyway, and I'm just kind of banking on the fact that maybe he doesn't want to discard the cards in hand at the moment, or he doesn't have a spell in hand, so I actually get my Synchro Summon to resolve, as there's just no other way I'm going to get it to resolve anyway. He for some reason lets it go off. I have no idea what he's doing. He must really like the cards in his hand. And I Synchro Summon into Trishula, who unfortunately misses timing. But in this case, it doesn't matter, because this card is going to do something absolutely disgusting to my opponent in a second. Gets his Beret, swings into my Trish. Beats over it, which allows me to then summon out the other Trish, which negates all the monsters on the board, including his really annoying Madame Beret, who's no longer going to be negating me anymore. Which means he's now in a very big spot of bother if he doesn't get something else out, which he doesn't. He just ends his turn. Summon my TG Screw Serpent, bring back the level 1, Synchro Summon into the Star Guardian. You can now add the level 4 back to hand. Star Guardian special summon to level 3. Oh, sorry, level 2. So I can go into Squiresaga. You can then banish a Synchro monster in grave to pop a monster on the field. And yeah, opponent is unhappy with that one. See, I think my opponent just misplayed there completely, but that was a good example of just how things can miss timing. So be very careful when playing Trishulas, they can miss timing and you won't get their banish effects. Alright, this guy was playing outdated Galaxy Eyes. So Galaxy Eyes, but in like the old Dark Magician way of just setting a bunch of background, banishing a bunch of stuff. Interesting, but still not the weakest of decks, of course. But luckily, we drew a Forbidden Lance, which is brilliant. Absolutely perfect for this matchup. It's what it's designed for. Alright, so opponent just does a bunch of stuff, summons a bunch of dudes, summons out his dude, summons out a Galaxy Eyes, sets a bunch of back row, and passes his turn. Very, very similar stuff you would have seen 2 years ago. Alright. Flight Control activated, sending a card from hand to the graveyard to search for a TG Striker. Now, keep in mind, by the way, that when using Flight Control means you can't summon any level 10 or higher monsters except TG monsters during the turn you use it. So make sure, if you plan to summon a Trishula, to not do it on the turn you activate the skill. If you're planning to summon the level 11, that is, you can still do the level 9, but the level 11, you're going to have to wait until your opponent's turn, then do the Synchro Summon. Alright, so this is a good setup for being able to go into our Trishula here. Or go into a Synchro Summon without having to do a normal summon. So because my opponent has a card on the field, I can special summon the Striker. Because I special summoned a low level monster, my TG Warwolf effects goes off, be able to special summon itself from hand, so I can go into my Star Guardian without having to activate a single normal summon yet. Perfect baiting out back row. Star Guardian, adding the Warwolf back to hand. Special summoning this dude from hand because I control a TG monster. And special summoning the Warwolf again because again, special summoned a low level monster. As you can see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we can go into Trishula. Summon out Trishula. Getting with a card from hand, field, and graveyard. He goes to banish my boy, I'm going to Forbidden Lance him. And because we haven't used our normal summon yet, we can summon our Screw Serpent, bring out the level 3, go into the Shiranui Squiresaga, banishing a synchro from grave to pop a card on field, and he's dead on board. Alright, game number 3. Alright, so I think this was Trishulaing during my opponent's turn, I think. I think we're on a pretty nasty win streak at this point too. Maybe what? No, either way. Play control, shuffling a card back from to hand. This is because to set up the Trishula during your opponent's turn, or the level 11 Trishula, you want to get a level 4, a level 1, and a level 1 in your hand. So level 4, special summon the Duel Fish, because it can just special summon itself with a TG on board. Making the Star Guardian. Star Guardian and the card back to hand, adding back the Serpent. Then special summoning the Serpent to bring back the card from graveyard. So we can go into a level 5. Now we can special summon the booster and pass the turn. Our opponent's playing Medallia the Iceberry, so now I know this guy's playing Ice Barrier. Just gonna chill for a bit, not activate anything in response to his effects, just kinda wait, just chilling. He normal summons a monster, special summons a monster. Again, not responding to anything, just waiting for him to go to battle, or try to go to the battle phase, or wait for him to try to do a synchro summon, or just waiting, going into our Trishula, to then banish all 3 cards on the field. Flat control, shuffling to add the level 4, so we normal summon level 4, bring back level 3, and same plays you saw from before. Actually, we didn't actually use level 3 that time, but we had Lethal on board anyway. Alright. Final replay. So this replay is actually a really good replay. It showed both Trishula and it showed Quarion. I wanted to make sure to keep one Quarion replay in here to show you guys that you still need to play Quarion if you want to play my list, because there are some hands where you can't set up the Trishula. So you go for the Quarion instead. This was the rank up into Platinum. Alright. So generally Quarion hands are going to be hands where you get a hold of a TG Warwolf, you get a hold of your Catapult Dragon, and then you just have to search for your level 2 Tuner monster, and that'll be a Quarion hand. Generally if you get 2 TG Wolves in hand, most of the time you can go into your level 11 monster, but in this case I wanted to show off the Quarion hand anyway, so... Didn't even try to set anything else up. Just grab my 3-card combo of these 3 dudes. Catapult Dragon, summoning out the Striker from hand, special summon the level monster so we can summon the Wolf. Secret summon is Star Guardian. Add back the Striker, which we now special summon using the TG, and we have a level 2, a level 5, both tuners, and a level 2. My opponent just sets a bunch of stuff, which is really annoying because unlike Trishula's, the Quarion can only banish monsters. So I summon out my Quarion, only banishing 1 card, which is pretty inefficient, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, summon my dude, so I have Lethal on board, he activates Treacherous, which isn't too bad because Quarion brings back the card it banished, and the TG Wolf can actually get a search out of it. And now we actually have a nice little protecting monster, which is gonna prove to be quite useful, as you'll see in a bit. So my opponent knows what this card does, so he doesn't even bother going into battle phase this turn, I reckon. Alright, nice little fancy animation. Wow. This is actually one of the worst animations in Duel Links, not gonna lie. Doesn't even compare to the Galaxy Eyes ones. Alright, summoning the Security Serpent, he flips it face down, unfortunately, but we do activate our skill to then search for our second Screw Serpent for later turns. Madonna doing a search. This is where this card proves to be very useful. So my opponent does a Pendulum Summon, sorry. Uses his heal to search for a card, brings out the card that pops face-ups, tries to pop this card, it just says no, and then he swings in and beats over my cards, and I took 0 damage. I take my Screw Serpent, bringing back the Warwolf, summoning a level 1, going into my Star Guardian. Star Guardian bringing back the Warwolf, and as you can see, 2 level 3s and a level 5 equals Trishula. Didn't even have to use my Forbidden Lance, because apparently his back throw is just worthless. Summoning out the Iceberry dude, banishing my opponent's entire board, and swinging for lethal. Alright. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Remember, if you guys enjoyed and want to see more content from me in the future, especially the Infernity video tomorrow, so leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel down below. Thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.